All right, good morning, guys. It's almost 10:30 right now, and I had about a 4-minute work day today. Wrapped up around 9:34, 9:35 ish, and I realized and remembered I had no eggs, so I'm going to grab something to eat because today I do not have the patience to go get groceries and cook and then eat. I really hate doing that, so I'm just gonna go get something to eat today, and then probably get groceries later. But yeah, I figured I'd take you guys along with me because I got nothing else to do today.
Good morning. What can I make fresh for you today?
Give me 1 second, sorry.
Okay. Good.
And then that'll be all.
All right, we got you. It's be $6.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, $6. That ain't nothing. I can just start coming here. Thank you. You too. Like I said earlier, I don't usually be, going out to eat, especially for breakfast and stuff. So I didn't realize that when I got 2 sandwiches, it was only gonna be $6. I don't think that's good for me to know, because $6 for 1,000 calories worth of egg sandwiches, bro, you might catch me here more often than I need to be. I ain't gonna lie. So hopefully that'll keep me coming. I don't want to be a repeating customer, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I just needed something for today since I ain't had no food. So I think I'm just eating in the car. Like, I was thinking about going back home, but I don't know. It's a nice day. I just kind of want to look outside a little bit, enjoy the scenery, I suppose. I like eating in my car every now and again, you know what I'm saying? Even though I just cleaned it. But, it is what it is. Because I need to, I want to hit the car wash after this anyways. So, I figure, I might as well stay out in the area. So, once I'm done eating, I could just swing right over there. Every time I do one of these, it's like a race against time. So I gotta make sure I know what I want. So start with the spot-free rinse. Alright, so my bad, y'all. I know the transition here in this video is gonna be kind of weird because I didn't pick up the camera after I washed my car, because I went to a graduation party for my sister and I was just spending time with my family, so I just didn't really record anything. But so I really wasn't sure if the footage from earlier was even gonna make it onto YouTube, because there's plenty of times where I start to record a vlog or start to record a video and I never end up finishing it, either just because I don't feel like it's good enough or I just don't have enough video to put out. But I thought about something that I wanted to kind of talk to y'all about. I wrote it down just so I didn't forget, because whenever I talk about things I tend to leave out certain parts and forget a lot of small points that I wanted to touch on, so I made sure to write everything down. But I kind of got this idea, so I figured I'll just stitch it on to this video, because everything did happen kind of within the same day. So I just wanted to talk to y'all based on the title of the video, because that's more than likely what most of you guys clicked on it for. Not vlog content, but that's just kind of just some extra stuff I put in there. But based on the title, you may be wondering what the heck does that mean? Don't be the hero in your story. It just kind of means that you gotta be willing to do stuff that other people aren't willing to do. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not deemed as something that's necessarily good for you to do or good for other people. Because I mean, I've done things that I'm not proud of, but it doesn't mean that I regret it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some things that I've done that I don't necessarily go bragging about or whatever. But at the end of the day, at the same time, it's like I didn't regret doing it because, you know, I knew what it is I had to do in order for me to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve. And I feel like life is, you know, everybody knows life is short, but you know, life really is short when you think about it. Most of the time, people only get between like 70, 80 years on this earth. And I'm almost 20 years old. So that means like getting close to 25% through my life. And I feel like I haven't seen nothing. So, you know, I feel like because of that, because of how short life is and because of how fast time moves, I'm so willing to just move on from other things, you know, that I don't think are good for me or don't align with my dreams and my aspirations. So like I've left careers that I've committed like a pretty decent amount of time to. Like I've been in a, you know, certain careers for like a year plus, you know, careers that you stay in for a lifetime. And I've learned skills, I've met people, you know, I've made connections, you know, and I've almost made unspoken promises that I decided not to keep because I did some thinking and I realized like that, you know, where I was at that time wasn't where I wanted to be. You know, I've pushed friends away who don't share the same goals as me. Like I've had to stop talking to some people. I've cut some people off completely. I've distanced myself from certain people just because, you know, I've got a goal right now and I've got a mission that I'm on. And I feel like if people aren't willing to help me get there or to support me to get to that spot, then they don't deserve or need to be in my life. Because one of the most important things that you need in order to achieve your goals is the proper environment. You know, your upbringing is everything. You know, we always have the saying of like, you know, nurture versus nature. But I'm not even here to argue one point over the other because I think both go hand in hand and they're kind of one and the same, especially in this realm. You know, your nurture is your nature. The people you grow up around and the people who raise you are your nature. That is your nature. It's not a nurture versus nature type of thing, in my opinion. I think it's what your nature is based on how you were nurtured. And I feel like, you know, some people just don't provide me with the nature I need. And there's even been some people in my family that didn't nurture me the way that they should have. And you know, I've kind of broken generational curses and gotten out of where I needed to be, or gotten out of what was instilled in me or not taught to me because I knew that in order to achieve something different, I had to do something different. I've created gaps in relationships, you know, with family and friends. Like, you know, I'm not necessarily as close as I quote unquote should be with some people because I'm worried about other things right now. You know, like I'm so focused on myself and I'm like, I'm not ashamed to say I'm selfish. I'm selfish. I am selfish and I am not a hero. I am nobody's hero. I am nobody's good influence. I am not the best person in the world, and the things that I do aren't perfect, and some of the things I do are just straight up not good. But that's kind of like on the surface level, you know. I've let people walk away from my life just in the pursuit of my own freedom. You know, like I've been in relationships that were pretty strong and then they would wither away and I would let them walk away. I would let them because, you know, sometimes it's not worth the time, you know what I'm saying? Like if I have a goal and I'm trying to get to a better position in my life where I'm trying to improve my habits and I'm trying to, you know, become financially free and all this stuff, sometimes you just gotta let people walk away. Like if they're not willing to see that and understand what it is that you're going through and understand what it is that you're trying to do, you can't waste your time trying to get them to stay or trying to get them to understand what it is you're trying to do. Like if you're spending all this time working, you keeping your head down and you're not talking to people as much as you used to, or you're just, you know, they might not think you're acting the same or you switching up or whatever. You know, if they don't understand it, they don't understand it. It's not your job to try and get them to understand that. It's not your job to save everybody. It's not your job to convince them to do it with you and come with you. If they're not going to follow in your footsteps or walk alongside you and create footsteps with you, then leave them behind. Let them walk the other way. And, you know, when I say things like that, people think I'm selfish for it. And I am. I'm selfish. Like, I'm I'm not ashamed of that at all. Like, because the thing is, everybody's selfish. I'm selfish just like everybody else, even if they don't realize it. Some people, everybody is selfish in their own ways. And at the end of the day, we all care about ourselves. But the difference between me and everybody else is I'm willing to admit that, you know? Even when people are like, you know, quote unquote worried about me or want me to, you know, to calm down and slow down, you know, even though I'm trying to go so hard and do certain things, you know, it may seem like a selfless act at its surface level, you know, like, oh, they're worried about me, you know, they care about other people themselves. No, at the end of the day, even worrying about other people around you is a selfish act. Because the people closest to me push me so hard, because when I move forward in life, I like to give back. So they're biased, you know? Like, it's easy for somebody to be like, oh, you know, you got to keep going. You got to do this. You got to do that. I believe in you. You know, I want you to do well. I want you to succeed. A lot of times people say those things because they are biased, because they know that they're going to get something out of it, because they know that at the end of the day, I have my selfless moments, and I'm not always going to be a selfish person. But in order to achieve a selfless attitude, I have to take selfish steps. I'm no better or no worse than most people. I just make better decisions, and I'm not afraid to share my motives. Like, I don't, you know, a lot of people say, you know, oh, I love my job so much because I feel like I'm contributing to society, and, you know, I'm contributing to my country, and I'm paying my taxes, and I'm being a good citizen. Bro, I don't care about any of that. I don't. I really don't. Like, you know, I'm a rule follower to an extent, just like everybody else is. Like, I'm going to abide by the law because I don't want to go to jail. You know, I don't want to end up dead. You know, just little things like that. But I'm not here to contribute to Uncle Sam. I'm not here to make other people's lives better. You know, I'm really not here for all that. At the end of the day, I'm here to do what makes me feel good. I'm here to make bread. I'm here to make money. I'm here to become free. I'm here to be able to go wherever I want, do whatever I want, whenever I want, have nobody who's able to tell me any different. That's what I'm here for. And I'm here to do the things that I enjoy and do the things that make me feel good. Now, does helping other people make me feel good? Of course. That's why I do help other people whenever I can, because it makes me feel good. So at its surface, once again, it's like a selfless act, but in reality, it isn't. I'm doing selfless acts out of my own selfish desire. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We are inherently selfish. All of us are. All people are. At the end of the day, we always think about ourselves before we think of other people. Even if you say you don't, you always think about yourself and how it's going to affect you. That doesn't mean that you're going to always take the option that benefits you over somebody else. But no matter what, even if you do make the selfless decision, you're always going to have the selfish thought first. It doesn't mean that you're incapable of, you know, being a good person. You know, I've got a lot of love in my heart, but I also have hate for what love can make you do. You know, if these relationships and like with your families and significant others and friends and stuff, you know, they're strong and they matter. But sometimes, you know, when you get so wrapped up in your love for other people, it distracts you from the mission. You know, when somebody you love so much doesn't understand what it is that you're pushing for, and they're, you know, they've got tears in their eyes, and they're looking you dead in your face and just telling you, please, like, just stop. You know, like, they're telling you, like, I don't understand, like, because they don't understand. They're like, you know, what is it that you're doing? You know, I don't understand why you're doing this. You know, a lot of people, especially when you be taking risks and stuff to get to a better point in life, people who didn't do that before, they don't understand it. People fear what they don't understand, so they're looking at you, they're like, I don't get what you're doing. They think you're throwing your life away. And then in those moments, some people succumb to that, because that selfishness kind of withers away. You know, they get that selfless moment and make that selfless decision where it's like, man, I'm affecting my relationships and the people around me. You know, dang, maybe I should slow down. Maybe I should, you know, get a regular job. Maybe I should go ahead and go to school like they told me to. Maybe I should work for my parents or a family company just like they said I should. Maybe I should do that. But no, that's not me. That's not me at all. I'm going to do what benefits me at the end of the day. You know, If I got certain things that I'm planning to do that day and I got a set schedule and somebody wants to throw a wrench in it and they want a favor, if I don't want to, I'm not doing that favor. If it's really going to get in the way of what I got going on and it's going to mess up my plans and mess up my momentum, I'm not doing it. I don't have to do it. You got to have some balance between your deeds and your sins. You know, you can do good for other people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't do good deeds, but you've also got to be willing to tell somebody no, and you don't even got to give them the reason. Or if you do want to give them a reason, you're allowed to tell somebody no because you don't want to, or you don't feel like it, or because you'd rather do something for yourself. You're allowed to say, no, I don't want to do that for you, or no, I don't want to help you because I got this going on, or I got this that I want to do, or I got this that I need to get done today. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to be selfish. It doesn't matter what other people are telling you you got to do or what you should do in order to become successful or to, you know, to minimize your risk in life. Because if that's not what you want to do, that's not what you want to do. You know, like I skipped school to force myself to commit to leaving my job. I had a job that required me to be in school to, you know, get a higher education, to become certified in the field that I was in so I could, you know, further my career, make good money, you know, retire, all that stuff. But I realized that job isn't what I wanted. It wasn't going to give me the money I wanted. It wasn't going to give me the freedom I wanted, and it wasn't going to have the work culture that I wanted. So what I did was I skipped school for 6 weeks. I skipped school for 6 weeks because I knew if I skipped school for that long, that I would have to retake the year because I failed, because you're supposed to attend every class. And if I failed that class or I had to retake the class, there was no way I was doing that. There's no way that my ego's too big for that. I'm gonna be honest. My ego's too big. I'm too selfish for that. There's no way that I would fail a class and allow myself to retake that same class and tell people whenever they ask me, yeah, I retook the class because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And I knew that about myself. So I used my own ego and my own selfishness to my advantage by deciding, okay, bet I'm going to do something selfish here, and I'm not going to go to school. I'm going to do what I want. I don't care about what my job wants. I don't care about what other people are saying I should do. I'm going to be selfish and do what I want. Because first of all, I didn't like school anyways. I didn't feel like going. I worked 10 hours and have to go to school for 4. Didn't want to do that anyway. So I'm like, whatever, I just won't go. And I also knew that my future self would have too big of an ego to be wanting to retake a class, you know, for me to do it all over again. So I knew, like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm going to skip these classes. I'm going to leave. And that's what I did. I left. I left that job, and ever since then, my momentum has been through the roof. Like, I can't stop moving. I can't stop working because that job taught me what it was like to hate working. You know what I'm saying? Not even necessarily working. It taught me what it was like to hate where you were at in life. And after I knew what that felt like, it's like after that, once I left and I put myself in a better position, anything else that I had to do was cake. So easy. You know, when you feel like you hit rock bottom, or when you feel like you're in the worst possible position you can be in life, nothing else you do is going to be as bad as that. So nothing else you do is going to be as difficult. Obviously, the situation I was in could have been a lot worse because, I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with what I was doing. I was working a stable career. I was in school, had a stable job, had a stable income, and I was making decent money. I was making good money for my age. But I thought about it. I'm like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is not going to give me the money I want when I'm 5-10 years older. This isn't going to give me the freedom I want. These aren't the people that I want to see every day. This isn't what I want to do. So it wasn't for me. So I decided to do something different. I decided to pivot. It was the best decision I ever made. Now I'm at the position where I can make 2 times the money in a day with a fraction of the work. And I don't got to talk to anybody. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to serve anybody. I'm working for nobody but myself. It's me versus me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's me versus my own psychology at the end of the day. Like, it's me versus versus my work ethic and how hard I'm willing to go. And when I feel like I've gotten a taste of what it's like to be stuck in a loop of somewhere I don't want to be, it's real easy to just lock in and just work on whatever it is that I want to pursue, something that I'm truly passionate about. Because what I'm doing now doesn't even feel like work. Like, every day I wake up and I'm excited to get to it now. Because I removed myself from the situation that people told me I should be in. I decided to play the villain in a way, you know? I decided to be selfish. I done pissed people off. I pissed family members off because they didn't like the decisions I was making, or I told them no, didn't do people favors because I had to do what was good for me. I've burned many bridges, you know, created distance in many relationships just because I decided to, you know, it was my own choice, because I felt like people were holding me back and they weren't really in the same place as me. So I had to remove myself from that nature. I had to remove myself from that space. And it was one of the best things I ever did. So I have no regret, you know what I'm saying? I don't never want to be a hero. I don't never want to help everybody at any given moment. I don't want to drop everything to help somebody. I don't want to be that guy. And if you want to be that guy, that's cool. Because that's what you want to do, but that's not what I want to do. That's not what I can do. That's not what I can afford to do. So I'm okay with being the bad guy, you know? Like, I'm okay with being the guy that some people think is just selfish, or some people think just cares about himself. That's cool. Because, you know, everybody got their own story. You know, we all selfish. We all think the world revolves around us. And in my story, I just don't happen to be the hero.